Hi everyone, this is Frank Demore with the Last Chronicles of Planet Earth, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today is May 15th, 2012. This is my second video today, but the reason why I'm doing a second video for you today is I feel it very, very important that you see this information because many people are being deceived. And what am I talking about? Well, let's go right to it. This is a segment that I call False Christ. And first of all, let me show you the word of the Lord. This is the warning from Jesus Christ himself in Matthew 24, verses 4 through 5. And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. Now, in my book that you see right here, that by the way that you can get today, you can read it today for free by clicking this link. In my book I have a chapter that deals with just as many people as I can get or found in my research over the years that have claimed to be Jesus Christ. So what I'm going to do is I downloaded my book just a few minutes ago from my site, and I'm going to go right to it. And you'll see on page 229, for example, here's one of the people who are claiming to be Jesus Christ. He's an eloquent speaker, and he dresses like Jesus Christ. And here's another one. You'll see he also dresses like Jesus Christ. He's from Brazil. But what I want to do is get down to this person because you'll see the significance of this. And of course, this is another one of those people, Alan John Miller. That's who he is right here. Who is claiming to be Jesus Christ. And he has stated, and she has stated, she's Mary Magdalene. So when the Lord said in the last days, many will come saying that I am Christ, you know, you can pick or choose which one you want. Here's another one, for example. There's plenty of them. This one is one of the more recent ones, along with Miller. But this was in January 7, 2012, who also claims to be Jesus Christ. So they're going to have to get together and have an annual Jesus Christ meeting to figure out which one is the real one. But, you know, all kidding aside, this is a real important matter because there are people who are being misled. And frankly, they're being misled is because they don't know the word of the Lord, and they are acceptable to being led away. And so the reason why I put this on is this person who looks like a shepherd, actually he's only cloaked with the outer garment of a sheep, but he's really a ravenous wolf underneath. And he is, according to what the Lord, a false prophet, because we know that not only is a false prophet, he's a false Christ, but it's happening during the last days. And the reason why I brought this news to you is because now you'll be able to see they did a 30-minute video about him. There was an investigation that I think they said 5 to 7 months that they did on it, on John Miller, the person that you see here, and he's moving his followers into a compound. Does this sound familiar to you? How about Jim Jones? Well, they talk about this matter in this video, and it's a very good video. It's very informative. So I'm asking you please to watch this, because the thing that you need to know is he is not really Jesus Christ. Now, for those of us who already know the Lord, we know that this is bizarre, and how could these people fall for this? Well, obviously, Satan wants you to believe it. And that's Satan's job, is to make sure that you don't read the Bible, because once you read the Bible, you're liable to understand what God is trying to show you. And if you're open and God reveals himself to you, he's going to show you exactly what the Christians who have already received Jesus already know, that we know when our Messiah is coming back. We know how we're going to see him. We know when he's coming back at the end of the 7-year tribulation, and he'll be coming out of the sky from the east to the west. So we know when the Lord's coming back, and this man is definitely not him. Now, let's move to another prophecy very shortly. I'm just going to take a couple minutes with you on this, but this is also important, and this has to do the combination of the Psalm 83 war that is coming soon, and then the Ezekiel war that will follow this Psalm 83 war, of which the Arab nations who border Israel will be attacking Israel in the last days. They're getting ready to do that, and they're calling for the destruction of Israel right now. And in this particular prophecy, when you go to my site, you'll be able to read this. You'll be able to read this in my book. It's all blown up so you can see it with no problems. You'll see that Iran is not listed in the first war, but they're definitely a major ally coming from this direction against Israel. And they are hooked up with Russia, who leads this war. All right? Now, we know that the Psalm 83 war is coming, and I found it very interesting today that somebody from one of my YouTube visitors wrote me and asked me, how long do you think it'll be before the Psalm 83 and Ezekiel war takes place, and how long do you think it'll be before the next one takes place after the Psalm war, which in reference to this Ezekiel war. So I answered that question, and if you just scroll, if you're at my YouTube site, when you go there, just scroll up until the first post that I put up today, and you'll see how I answered that question. And I was blown away that a couple hours later, somebody emailed me another report that I wanted to share with you, because it's almost identical to what I just wrote. And I have no idea that this article came out, but I've been saying this for months and years, so it's just confirming that what I'm showing you through the Word is coming to pass. So let me go right to this article for you so that you can see it. Let me bring it up here. Let's see here. There we go. Excuse me. Now, this article out of Israel, it says that the IDF official, Iran could order the Hezbollah hit on Israel. All right, now Hezbollah is one of the peoples mentioned in the Psalm 83 war. And of course, Iran is mentioned in the Ezekiel war, like I just told you. Right? That's important information to keep in mind when we're going over this article. It says this, and I'll just, excuse me. Any new confrontation with Shiite terror group would likely be over much faster than the 34-day war in 2006, Army officials said, or says, adding Nasrallah still licking his wounds. Excuse me. I guess the Lord's enemy doesn't want me to get this out to you. But it says, Lebanon's Hezbollah may not want a new war with Israel, but an order to attack would come from Tehran. Now get that. In other words, Tehran, Iran. In an event of a strike on Iran, a senior military official in Israel's Northern Command told the AFP, this news source. So what they're saying is, essentially, if Israel attacks Iran, Iran will give the order into Hezbollah, and they will have to attack Israel. Which I've been saying that this is one of the scenarios I say look to happen, because when that happens, more than likely it will end up being the Psalm war fulfillment. It says this, and should another conflict break out between Israel and the Shiite terrorist group, it would be a much faster than a 34-day war of 2006. Of course, they're just repeating what we have up here. Any military strike on Iran nuclear facilities will likely spark a deadly response from its ally, Hezbollah, whose leader is Hassan Nasrallah, warned on Friday that its missiles could strike anywhere inside the Jewish state. And I just put up this information within the last couple of days, showing us again the road leading to the Psalm 83 war. But senior military officials do not believe that Nasrallah wants another war with Israel and would only attack as a direct result of orders from Tehran. You see how the puzzle is coming together, this prophecy puzzle? Now, the biggest spending of Iran in 30 years has been of the nuclear program, and Hezbollah is the second, the Israeli official told the AFP, adding that Tehran's aim was to create Iranian footprints near the border of Israel. If something were to happen in Iran, it's a tool that can be used in all kinds of scenarios. And they're spot on for sure with this news. Iran, have so many high-ranking officials in Lebanon. Now get this, in Lebanon, because when you go to Psalm 83, you'll see that God said Lebanon's coming against Israel. So I hope you're not shocked to understand this is no coincidence what you're reading here, because it's identical to the nations that God told us that would be attacking. Now I don't think this is a decision of Nasrallah. He will get orders. That's why he was created, said the official. So he's just going to carry out the plans of Iran. And Iran's plan is what? How many times we've heard in the last 3 years where Ahmadinejad said we are going to wipe Israel off the face of the earth. This identical statement that we find in Psalm 83. Back to the quote. If you ask Nasrallah today, he would say no to any new war with Israel, but I don't think that that's his call, he said. Nasrallah understood the power of Israel and is still licking his wounds. He said other scenarios which could spark a new conflict between Israel and the Hezbollah include attack on Israeli abroad and transfer of the Hezbollah of chemical weapons from Syria. Syria is another one of those nations that are mentioned in the Psalm 83 war. I mean, it's just about once once a day I could find something about the Psalm 83 war, and it usually about 4 out of 5 days out of the week I'll see almost 5 or 6 articles that look like the Psalm 83 war. I mean, the headlines are leading right to there. Now going on, it says in the midst of its brutal crackdown on protest, any new confrontation would likely be over much faster. Of course, this is what I read before, the 34-day conflict which erupted in July 2006 at the military official in the northern region which borders Israel. This will be much faster or shorter, much faster than the month it took last time, he said. The most important mission today is that to win decisively any kind of war in Lebanon. If you win, you win. Everybody sees it. And of course, everybody will see this, the Israelis win this next war, and someone is not going to like the results. And do you know who that is? Obviously, it's going to be Iran. Tehran. You'll see Tehran. They're going to see what's going on. They're not going to like it at all. And it is going to be like a splinter under Iran's fingernails. So he said that Israel's biggest challenge is in any new conflict would be Hezbollah's positioning of weapons in the heart of the civilian areas in around 100 Lebanese towns and villages along the border. In the villages, there are 3-story houses. On one floor, there are rockets. Then there is a family on the next floor. Then a military headquarters. Then another family. And the people that live there are human shields, he said. Every Shiite village has become such a compound. The great challenge would be to deal with all of these compounds. So, you know, they're talking about these armies, armies of against Israel, and the way they set up and they took, in the heart of their own people, which they don't even care about. Obviously, they don't care if they get killed, women, children. They do this on purpose. But it's going to be unavoidable because there is an attack coming against Israel. We know that God's word always comes to pass 100% of the time. And one of the next prophecies to be fulfilled is going to be the Psalm 83 prophecy. And as I said, Iran is going to get really upset with it, and as a result, we know what is going to happen as a result of that. Now, the result of that will be later on, after this war is over, the Psalm 83 war, the finger if you will, the bamboo shoots under the fingernails of Ahmadinejad from Iran and the rest of the Arab nations who do not like what they see coming out of Israel when they beat their Arab brothers. They're going to unite with Russia and try to take her out again at a later date. Now, this later date will happen. We're not too sure how long, but we do know this, and this is what I wrote in my question when the YouTuber excuse me, asked me the question, when do you think that this will happen? Well, we know, and I've said this before, but just in case if you're new, this war right here will happen while the wall is up. They have a 20-foot wall. You'll see this in my book. And it spans about 320 miles long, and it keeps Israel's enemies out. The PLO and anybody else, Hezbollah, anybody else, the Hamas that wants to do harm to Israel. And so that wall's there. And Paul told us in 1 Thessalonians 5:3, when they shall call peace and safety, then sudden destruction will come upon them, and they will not escape as travail upon a woman with child. So that tells us that when they're calling for peace and safety, that's the time of the attack. That's exactly the time frame we're in right now. And the peace process is falling apart. And this is one of the reasons why the Palestinians are so adamant. And the Hezbollah and the Fatah and all these other Hezbollah, these groups want to get rid of Israel. And so when Israel beats them, and decisively this next time, I believe that it will be at that time this wall, this 20-foot wall, this not this wall here, this is Jerusalem itself, that's the east gate that Jesus is going to walk through when he comes back and sit in the Jerusalem to rule. But the fence I'm talking about is the barrier fence, that 20-foot high barrier fence. When that comes down, because Israel's going to think, wow, we beat all the enemies, and now we can spread out a little bit, and we can take the walls down because we're safe. Now, this prophecy, that's where God tells us that this attack will happen when Israel has no bars, no gates, or walls. And it happens, it says it in the scriptures, they'll think that they are at peace. So Israel's going to think that they're at peace. And I know why, is because they conquered these people, the barrier comes down, they think everything's all right. Ahmadinejad, who's been waiting in the background, just like a fighter, just waiting for revenge, saying, let's hook up with Russia and take them out. And we know from that war, 5/6 of everybody that comes down from all these different directions, all these different nations against Israel, 5/6 of them will be killed. Now, this war, we're not told how many will be killed. But we do know this war will be decisive, and I believe it will happen very, very quick, like the 1967 war and the 1973 war. That those wars, one war just took 7 days or 6 days. So when Israel knows that they're up against all of these nations coming, they're going to have to act like they've never acted before. It's going to be swift, decisive, and over. And then we're on our way to the next prophecy. Now, between this and that, who knows? Maybe the Lord will come back, rapture the church. We don't know that. But that's why we're supposed to be ready. And if you're not ready, again, you're liable to fall in the traps of people like this who said they are Jesus. Today is the day to receive Christ. Today, please do it.